nunca nadie murió a causa de la molestar. Pero vivir en el nombre de la comodidad ha matado más acciones, más ideas, más oportunidades y más crecimiento que todo combinado. Comodidad mata. T. Harv Eker said that nobody will die of discomfort, but living in the name of comfort has killed more actions, more ideas, more opportunities, and more growth than everything combined. Comfort kills. I grew up with a friend who became a victim of comfort. And as a result, he never pursued his passions. He never tapped into his full potential. And he never explored the world outside of his own neighborhood. And sadly, life slipped through his fingers. And when I looked at him, I said to myself, that's not gonna be me. But he made my decision that much easier to not only want to learn to speak Spanish, but to take it a step further and immerse myself in the culture. Because I didn't want to live my life haunted by a bunch of what-ifs. Fellow contest masters, fellow Toastmaster members, welcome guests, and anyone here who's been a victim of comfort. These are the reasons why I moved to Costa Rica for 18 months to live with a family when I was only 19 years old. I can remember just like it was yesterday, when my Costa Rican family took me home from the airport, brought me back to the house. Reality set in. Fears and doubts crept up my shoulders and into my mind. I can remember sitting in that back seat. My body was trembling, my knees were shaking, my heart raced 100 miles an hour. I couldn't even breathe, I was so nervous. You see, I realized something at that moment. I realized that I committed to something that I wasn't fully prepared for, and there was no turning back. I couldn't speak Spanish. Not one word. Well, I knew how to say, hola, como esta, which means hello, how are you? But I already said that when I met them at the airport. So why was I words to say? And needless to say, that flight home was filled with awkward silence. As a matter of fact, you know that awkward silence you experience when you're in an elevator with someone you don't know, and you avoid eye contact and you just can't wait to leave? Well, that was me, except this was 100 times worse. Because it took maybe 30 minutes to get back to the house. I couldn't wait for that day to end. But despite how I was feeling at that moment, part of me felt a little bit more optimistic about the next day, you see, because that was the day that I was going to report to school for the very first time. So I thought that, hey, maybe I got a shot at learning just enough Spanish that I can communicate with my Costa Rican family and anybody else. And as that next day approached, I confidently walked out the house, and my Costa Rican mother, she looked at me with the warmest smile. She said, adios, que le vaya bien, Dios la acompaña. Now, I didn't know that she was wishing me well on my journey to school and for God to be with me, so I just looked at her and said, adios. And I began walking to school. And as I'm walking to school, the inevitable happens. What do you think that was? I got lost. I got lost in a foreign country. Do you have any idea what that's like to be lost in a foreign country? I didn't just panic, I freaked out. I frantically walked up and down the streets. I couldn't recognize any of the names of the street signs. I couldn't read any of the names of the businesses that I passed. And the more I walked, the more lost I felt. But what should have been my first instinct was my last thought. Find some help, anybody. So I stopped walking, and I looked over to my right. And I saw this guard who was standing outside this bank, holding this big shotgun in his hands. Now, I was afraid to approach him. Not just because I couldn't speak Spanish, but because he was holding this big shotgun. But I had no choice. I had to reach out. I could remember trembling and sweating profusely as I approached him and said, yo no soy, donde está? That was the most amount of words in Spanish I've ever spoken in my life. Even more than hola, como está, except this time, I didn't make any sense. And the guard looked at me as if I was crazy. He clutched his weapon even tighter. I was scared. I realized that I had to ease a situation that started to escalate rather quickly until I remembered something. I remembered this one word that I learned on the plane ride to Costa Rica. Ayúdame, which means help me. So I regrouped, and I approached him again. And I said, ayúdame, and pointed to the address, hoping he'd draw the connection that I was lost. And he understood I was lost, and he helped me get to school. Now that whole 18th month experience has made me more fearless of the unknown, more confident in my abilities. It's given me the courage to pursue my own passions, such as starting my own consulting firm, Tailored Training Solutions. It's given me the courage to share this story with you right now. Because let's face it, if I can move to a foreign country for 18 months, get lost in the city, but overcome that and learn fluent Spanish, I can do anything. You can do anything if you step outside your comfort zone. Step on outside your comfort zone. Break free of your fears and doubts and comforts. Step outside your comfort zone. Seize the moment to remove your pockets full of what-ifs. Step outside your comfort zone, whether it's a career you want to pursue, a place you want to travel to. Maybe it's a hairstyle you want to try out. Go on and step outside your comfort zone. You know why? Because as humans, we are inherently afraid of what people may think of us, about being alone, about change, about the unknown, and definitely about stepping outside your comfort zone. But sometimes, you have to break free of your confidence and sense of security to tap to your full potential, to find out what makes you unique. But you have to take the first step, and I challenge you to do just that. Stare fear in the eyes and overcome it with your inner courage. Remove your pockets full of what-ifs and replace it with action. And when you do step outside your comfort zone, remember the words of my Costa Rican mother, que le vaya bien y Dios la acompañe. May you go well and may God be with you. Vamos a